Episode 1, guys. Masky saved file. I, of course, am your host, Michael Masky. So some of you might know me from my other things. I have Rift City. I have Coffee Time. I have Masky's Metal Minute. I do a lot of these series. Hopefully, this isn't the first time you've heard of me. But if it is, welcome. I gotta tell you right off the bat, I'm a little nervous. Because I've never done anything like this before, where I am directly talking to you for a very long period of time. So, yeah. So what is this? Alright. It's kind of easy and hard to explain at the same time. I wanted to create, basically, it's kind of like a nostalgia show, where I talk about my favorite games of all time. I try to break them down as much as possible. There's going to be spoilers. There's your spoiler alert. And I just come from a place of appreciation, I'm not an expert. I think that goes without saying. I'm just going to tell you about the games that I love and try to do my best telling you about them. So yeah, that's basically it. Enough with the introductions. Hopefully that's enough. I myself am a musician in the scene, and if you know me or see my channel, I like making videos. And there's a lot of stuff, a lot of different videos. Sometimes I do playthroughs, sometimes I do all the stuff that I just mentioned. But yeah, this is going to be my first venture into this, and I'm pretty excited. So, Masky Save File, Episode 1, in the game that we are going to talk about today, Paper Mario for the Nintendo 64. Oh yeah, let's hear that sweet, sweet music. Alright guys, let's get into it. So a little background for the game. Paper Mario was released in Japan August 11th, 2000, and in the US it was released February 5th, 2001, so a little bit later. And basically it was kind of in that last run of Nintendo 64 games before the next gen systems took over. So it kind of came out of nowhere. All across the charts, it got pretty much a 9 and up out of 10, by IGN and other reputable places, that review games. So it was kind of agreed that this game was pretty great, So let's talk about its history a little bit. Paper Mario was technically the first installment of Paper Mario, but it was supposed to be a sequel of a game that already existed, called Super Mario RPG for the SNES. Now, if you play that game, you know that there's basically leaps and bounds between it in terms of its style and personality and just graphical capabilities, obviously. Super Mario RPG was good, but it wasn't quite there yet. So the same company that was supposed to make Paper Mario was that, Square, I think it was Squaresoft, which later left and became Square Enix. So they had the contract to make Paper Mario, which was going to be a sequel to that game. It was supposed to be called Paper Mario and the 7 Stars or something like that. I can't remember the exact title. So it was going to be a sequel, and there was a falling out between Nintendo and Squaresoft, and they took off and joined PlayStation and formed the company that you guys all know and love as Square Enix, doing all the Final Fantasy games. So they got left with this title, but with no one to do it. There was this man. It's going to be really hard for me because a lot of these names are extremely difficult to pronounce. But basically they came to him, and he had an idea for the art style that they wanted to take it in, and he did some some doodles, and Miyamoto, fell in love with it, and basically Nintendo gave that project to him and just a number of other directors. So it basically changed entirely what that game was going to be. So, why do I love this game? Well, it actually goes back to when, I was a kid. Obviously the Nintendo 64, I'll say right off the bat, is my favorite system of all time. Obviously there are great games for every single system, but nothing comes close when it, the charm just I loved most of the games for the N64. I mean, you got your Ocarina of Time, you have the first Smash Bros. Installment, the Yoshi story, you get, Kirby rendered in 3D, obviously Super Mario 64 and Mario Kart. You have a lot of awesome titles there. And this one, actually I got by accident. My cousin gave me this as I don't want this, do you want it? So I started playing it and I absolutely fell in love with it. So let's say I'm talking about this and you have no idea what I'm talking about. Paper Mario. What is that, right? Well, Paper Mario, if I had to basically explain what it is, it's basically kind of like Super Mario RPG, where it is an RPG. It's an RPG that takes all of the elements from Mario canon. So it's all of the bad guys, it's all of the good guys, it's Mario, it's Luigi, it's Peach, it's the Koopas, it's the Goombas, it's everything you could possibly imagine from Mario lore that's being used in this game. But it's an RPG, so it's kind of like a traditional Japanese style RPG where it is turn-based. It gives the impression of open world. I won't say that it's exactly open world because you are kind of on a fixed path. You're not allowed to do anything you want. And you can use items, inside and sometimes outside of battle. You collect coins and different items across the world. And as soon as you go into the battle system, it's turn-based. So it's very, very Japanese style, Japanese style of an RPG. So basically, the player controls Mario, and basically it uses a partner system. So Mario at all times has one partner with it, So if I had to explain the game in a nutshell, you go through the Mushroom Kingdom trying to save Peach from Bowser. So in this game, basically you control Mario, and I'm going to, talk about a little bit behind the game a little bit, not so much the story, but it's quite obvious you're playing a Mario game, so you're going to be saving Peach in some fashion. But, so you control Mario, and he basically outside of the battling system, you control Mario and a partner that follows you at all times. The partner has different functions that help you in that open world, and it's very unique. It's Paper Mario, so everything is 2D, but the world around it is 3D. It is rendered in sprites, so in terms of graphics, I'd say it holds up better than even some of the best games on that system, like Super Mario 64. Definitely looks more crisper because you're working with sprites. So basically, you control Mario, you explore the Mushroom Kingdom, you explore dungeons, and there is a stat system. You have a health, HP, you got an FP, which is basically your mana, and then you have a BP, which controls the badge power. It's basically a thing that, allows you to use special attacks. So I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but basically everything in this is rendered in 2D sprites, and that's where it gets its name. It's Paper Mario. It's everything is paper in a 3D world, and that does come into play. Certain parts, not so much in the first one as it is in the second, where it does take full advantage of that style. So basically, like I said before, it follows a lot of these Japanese RPG tropes, but it still has that Mario feel because it's using the same stuff. It's using everything that is canon in Mario. So, this game is special though because, unlike the first one, unlike a lot of the games actually that came out for that era, it's they actually gave Mario personality, you know? Not just Mario, but everybody in that world. You know, you're saving Peach, you're going against bosses and everything, and bad guys, but everything just has personality, you know? Everything has personality, and because of the 2D style and the 3D world, everything seems bigger. So it's just that style that is just like, very like, I don't want to say cute, but it's definitely, it's warm and fuzzy and like really not threatening, but it connects with you on a personal level because, you know, even the bad guys are humanized really in this game. So it's like, you know, it brings humor into the game, which is the first time that they ever try to do that, you know. A lot of times the characters will just make dumb little jokes, you know, and it's very interesting, you know. It's sometimes it's hit or miss, but most of the time, you know, it's just, you're just having fun. At the end of the day, this game is about having fun, you know. Even the biggest villain of this game, arguably being Bowser, he comes off as just not a bad guy. He's kind of misunderstood, you know? And in this game, he's rendered as clumsy, and he's very humanized. You understand where he's coming from. So it's like, this game already has all the Mario lore, so you feel at home, you know exactly what you're playing. And it tricks you, I don't want to say tricks you, but, you know, for those people who've never played an RPG before, you're playing an RPG, you know? Whether it's the most difficult one, like Final Fantasy VII, you know, for example, or anything like that, you know, like Chrono Trigger or anything, you're playing an RPG. It's a lot dumbed down. It's very dumbed down compared to any of those games, but it's just warm and fuzzy, and it was definitely my first walk into that style of games. The last thing for the intro is obviously the thing that ties it all together. It's not just the lore. It's not just everything just being personable and there's humor. It's the fact that this soundtrack is incredible, you know? For every different chapter that you go through the game, there's just different music for every situation, you know? It's not just the MIDI music for when, like, Mario hits a block or, like, uses hammer. It's just the surrounding music for every single stage. And it really paints the picture. It's like, you feel like you're in a different world in every stage, and every Mario game has kind of done that with the music for sure, but this one specifically, I absolutely love the score. If you have a chance to check that out, check this score out, and definitely check out the one for Thousand Year Door. We'll talk about it, you know, about the music in a little bit as well, but let's take a little break before I get into the actual specs. Alright, welcome back. Just like I said, the battling system, so obviously this is probably 2/3 of the game right here, you know? You enter into a battle by just bumping into an enemy, and then it starts basically, like, it almost seems like you're on a stage. That's how it's presented. That's how they're able to do turn-based without it being confusing or distracting. So you're on a stage, you're with your partner, like I said, you fight with your partner. He has a moveset just like your own, and you fight your enemy, and it's turn-based, so very much like an RPG, it follows that same trope. So the game uses a turn-based style of combat where you have a variety of choices on how to proceed with the enemy. Basically, if you're Mario, you have the choice of using, it's very basic in terms of like his, you know, attacks. Is just you get to use the hammer or you get to jump. And really where it comes into play is items, badge power, and star power related attacks. That's really what separates, you know, that's really what helps. I shouldn't say separates. That's really what changes up the system a little bit here. So hammer and jumping is very self-explanatory. That's his main styles of attacks. You can use either conditionally. Your enemy might be airborne, so you can't hit him with the hammer. You jump on him. If he has spikes, you can't jump on him, so you use your hammer. Every battle, you have to read your opponent and kind of understand what you're going to do from there. So it's intuitive, just like a regular RPG. You know, sometimes you're going to face an enemy that can poison you, so you have to adapt, essentially. So, like I was saying before, there's also items. And guys, there's a lot of items. So if I just stood here and listed all the items, it would be extremely boring. But there are basically two styles of items. There's battle items and restorative items. It's obviously very self-explanatory. Battle items help you in battle, you know. It could be anything from making Mario invisible, like the item Boo Sheet, or like a stone hat, which makes Mario pervious from taking any damage. Or it can be an actual battle item that inflicts damage, like, you know, a snowman, or a fire flower, or thunder rage. So basically, you know, your options for attacking has just widened a little bit. You can jump, you can hit him with a hammer, or you can use an item. The game uses coins, basically, after every battle or around and you know, exploring the world. You can get coins, and that's how you buy items and badges that I'll explain later. So, yeah. And then there's restorative items, which is obvious, you know, it restores your gauges. So, whether it's, you know, HP or FP, FP being flower power, and those items can, you know, some of them can typically be used inside and outside of battle as well. So, all right, so that you've got attacking. So you've got hammer, jumping, items. Now you have your star-based attacking, you know, star power-based attacking. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, but when you rescue each star spirit in the game, there's 7, you get a little star power meter. So that meter basically allows you to use whatever, you know, collection of stars that you have rescued. They have specific effects that you can use during the battle, and all of them have a requirement for the gauge. It depletes your gauge, and you just have to build it back up. You can build it up by just keep battling, and it'll do it naturally. You can use focus, or you can go to any Toad house and regain that by sleeping in the house. So, you know, I know this is you know, if you've never played this before, this is very confusing and daunting, or maybe not at all, but it's a lot of information. So star powers, you know, they're very unique. Each one has a different effect, and we all have our favorites, people who actually do play and like this game. But it's not only attacks, it could be healing effects, it could be buffs, you know, maybe it takes your enemy's power down, you know. But yeah, they're all different effects, and they're all fun to use. So they're all very unique, serve a very specific purpose. And yeah, so that's star power. And then you have flower power. So FP isn't very much explained in the game, but it's basically your mana gauge, you know, your magic bar or your PP, you know, like if you're a Pokemon guy. So Mario will have certain moves that require FP, which is brought on by attaching badges to Mario. Now let's talk about badges. You have 3 bars. You have HP, FP, and then BP. BP is badge power. So in the game, you get these things called badges, you know, and they're helpful items that you attach to Mario that give him basically bonuses, or, you know, things like, if you wear this badge, you can ignore people with armor. You know, it's very, like I said, JRPG, you know. You equip them, and it basically can affect the way that your abilities work in battle, you know. Whether it's giving them new attacks, or just, you know, maybe it's a boost to your partners or yourself in terms of HP or FP, you know. There's my favorite badges, you know, there's one that just, it's a badge that you attach to Mario, and your hammer ignores all damage, which is great if you're fighting like a heavy duty opponent. And yeah, there's one that allows you to see your enemy's HP gauge. If you don't have that, you don't get to see their HP the entire game. So it's very helpful, you know. But yeah, you know, like I said, Mario has this gauge, and during battles, you know, when you get to 100 star points, that's basically, you know, your XP gauge. When you get to 100, you get to level up one of these categories. It's either HP, FP, or BP. So I try to do a very balanced approach to it. And, you know, some people put it all into badge power, some people put it all into FP. You know, it's whatever your style of play is. So, yeah, you know, each badge has a specific rating, tells you how much points it takes. So, you know, depending on how many points, you gotta make some tough decisions, you know. And yeah, that's pretty much it with badges. So the last thing here is action commands. Now this is arguably the biggest part really of battling, because this can save you a lot of damage in the game or add damage to your opponent. So basically the player is allowed to use action commands in battle, which means Mario and his partner execute attack. There's a prompt that shows up like press A, or, you know, time it out right, time out the attack. And basically, if you're successful, you do bonus damage. It's the same thing when your opponent attacks. You can hit A at the perfect time and reduce damage that's inflicted to you. Now, I've played this game so many times that I don't even need to think twice about doing this, but every opponent has a tell of who they're going to attack or what special attack that they're about to do, and you just have to pay attention. That's basically it. You know, you do enough battles and you will understand what these opponents are going to do, and the action commands are extremely important. So yeah, that's basically it. You know, at the end of the battle, you get star points, which, like I said, is your XP gauge. You get to 100 and you get to level up, you know? And in terms of the leveling up, like I said earlier, it's not an extremely difficult system like a regular JRPG. It's just, you know, you have to do what you feel is right, you know? Some people will boost that health up, some people will do FP, you know? It's made relatively simple. So even a first timer, you know, can figure it out. So, all right. I mentioned this a couple times. Partners. So, an important part of this game is the partner system, and throughout the journey, Mario, you know, meets a lot of people in this journey. Essentially, in every stage or two, he gets a new partner. So altogether, let me just make sure this is correct. There is 8 partners altogether. You can, you know, at the end, you get them naturally. You don't have a choice, basically. It's Gumbario, Cooper, Mamet, Paracari, Lady Bao, Watt, Sushi, and Lalexter. And basically, you know, the whole game, you're going to need them to reach certain objectives. They all have a special move that allow you to move on, you know, to whatever you have to do. So, like, you know, the Koopa character, you hit him, and then he can hit switches, like, across the screen. Lady Bao turns you invisible, you know, Lady Bo. And, you know, Paracari carries you across gaps. So basically in the game there are situations where you need these partners, and that's basically their, you know, their importance. So like out of world, obviously these partners have functions, but also in battles they have a move set. Each partner usually starts off with 2 moves, and you can upgrade them with you know, these little boxes that you find everywhere, and basically you just tack on, you know, to a max of 4 moves. So as you are, you know, leveling up, so are your partners, essentially, you know. And you do have to essentially make a choice on who you want to level up, but you know, everybody has their favorites. My personal favorite is Watt from the chapter, I believe it's chapter 4 or 5, Shy Guy's Toy Box. So, yeah, I don't know if you can see that. I have a Watt tattoo, Paper Mario and Watt tattoo on my arm. So, yeah. Yeah, that's basically it. Is each partner has a very specific moveset, even in battle, that, like, let's say your partner is, an airborne type. You're going to use that to attack, people who are out of reach for Mario. Maybe you're going against 4 enemies. You need somebody who could hit all 4 enemies. But my favorites are Bombette and Watt. Those are my 2 favorite out of the 8. But yeah, so each partner has the ability to be upgraded twice, and that's pretty much it. That's me talking about the stats. So let's take another break. Alright, so let's talk about the actual goddamn story. So, hopefully, if I'm smart enough, I will have the intro clip playing right here. Ready? There it is. The story opens with a place that lies far beyond the sky and far above the clouds called Star Heaven. Within the sanctuary of Star Heaven lies the Star Rod, which can grant any and all wishes. The 7 star spirits use the artifact to watch over and protect the Mushroom Kingdom until one day Bowser and Kammy appear in the sanctuary and steal the Star Rod in hopes of using it to defeat Mario. So, Kammy traps the star spirits, and that is how the beginning of the game starts. So that's right before you even hit start. It gives you that. And you hit start, and with that information, it's just a normal day. Mario wakes up in his house. They receive an invitation from Princess Peach to go to their castle. She's throwing a party. So, you arrive and you just see that there's tons of guests, and they're all from the Mushroom Kingdom. And you notice right away, you're like, if you've played this game before, you're like, oh, I know, that's the mayor of Shiver City, oh, that's, what's his name from the Dry Ruins, that's Mousefasa, There's just everybody who you meet essentially is going to be there in that room. So Mario goes and he proceeds to meet with the princess upstairs. However, Bowser comes and breaks up the party, challenges Mario to a battle, and Mario loses because Bowser has the Star Rod. So Kammy and Bowser defeat Mario and just knock him off into the abyss. Bowser levitates the castle. I guess that's important to know. Just takes the castle and puts it in the sky. Basically, Peach's castle is on top of Bowser's. Knocks Mario off. And yeah, they kidnap the princess. And that's really it. That's the beginning of the game before the title screen. So, that's it. That's the setup there. You have to go rescue the princess, like pretty much every Mario game. You wake up and you wake up in this village. It's a Goomba village, and before you wake up, the 7 star spirits are manifesting over Mario on the ground, trying to save his life, essentially. They use the last of his energy, and Mario's and Kacha's body is then found by a family of Goombas who carry them back to their village. While knocked out, he gets a vision from Eldstar, which is, basically the leader of the 7 star spirits, urging him to go to the Shooting Star Summit. So, yeah, just pushing ahead, basically, he meets with those 7 star spirits, and the story begins. But, before you reach the star summit, you meet your first partner. You meet Gumbario, and in this village, you learn your basics. You learn the battle system. You get your first rival, and it's very much a tutorial without them telling you it's a tutorial. It tells you all the basics. Exactly what you're gonna do, and you leave that village basically knowing the gist of what this game is gonna be. So you leave. You get to, basically the site of where you first, saw Peach's castle, and there's nothing there. It's just a giant hole in the ground, and you go towards the Star Summit. You go up there, and he's greeted by the 7-star spirit, who tell Mario basically what happened, in Star Heaven, and that they all have been trapped in cards and have been divided among Bowser's forces. So basically, that's the game. Mario has to go and save everybody. He has to go through every single different land and rescue each Star Spirit. And at the end, the Star Spirits give him a power called, I think it's called the Star Beam. And that's basically how, you debuff Bowser long enough to attack him. Now, obviously, if you've never played this, I just gave you a spoiler, but I told you on top. Spoilers, so you can't hate me for that. But I'm trying to tell you enough, but not everything, if that makes sense. I have a lot of favorite parts of this game, but, you should play it for yourself, and figure it out. There are 8 chapters in the game, 7 for the 7-star spirits, and then 8 when you actually face Bowser. And yeah, that's basically the story. Another unique part of this game is, for the first time, besides like Super Mario 2, you get to play Peach. She's trapped inside of Bowser's castle. She's in her castle on top of Bowser's castle in the sky. And she's trapped in a room, and her role is she basically escapes and gathers intel for Mario. So she is kind of the stealth mission in the game. There's no stealth except for Princess Peach running around trying not to get caught by the guards. So she gathers intel with a character named Twink, who is a star kid who just got to Star Heaven. So he's just trying to help, and that's basically it. There are plenty parts in the game where you get to be Peach and just sneak around and try to help out Mario, who's on the ground, essentially. So that's the setup. I'm not going to give you anything else of the story because you should actually play this. This is an amazing game. If you don't have if you don't have an N64 with the game, you can just run emulators, But yeah, as I said before, as you get more Star Spirits, you get more special moves. And the bigger your gauge gets, I've already talked about that, but you get star power moves. And they help immensely when you get to these boss battles. Or you fight enemies where you're fighting 4 of them and they have high HPs, They really, really help. Whether it be like a move like Lullaby, where it puts everybody to sleep. Or later you get a Star Spirit that basically gives you 30 HP. And that's very important, because you'll see with restorative items, there's increments, there's your basic mushroom, your super mushroom, your ultra. There's different items that help you with HP and all that. But, the Star Spirit moves are kind of like, beefed up, essentially, and they really do help. But yeah, other aspects of the game I didn't talk about. I talked about coins a little bit. You gather coins all over the world, and you use them for items and badges. That's basically it. That's basically what you're spending it on. And another way to get badges, there's this woman at the Shooting Star Summit who basically sells you badges for star pieces. Star pieces are these little star fragments that can be found all around the Mushroom Kingdom. There's 160 in total, so if you want to try and collect them, good luck. There's a lot of them. and you just bring them to Merlot at the Shooting Star Summit, and you get some really cool badges that you can't get anywhere else. So badges like Zap Tap or Heart Finder or Flower Finder or Peekaboo. Peekaboo is my personal favorite badge because it allows you to see your enemy's health. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna talk about the music and the levels for a little bit. Like I said, it's not just the Mario aesthetic, it's not just the personality, but what really ties it together is the music and the level design. The music in the game was done by composer Yuka Tsuji Yoko. Yuka C.G. Yoko. Sorry. And yeah, I don't know. It's like every single time you go into a different stage, you truly feel like you're going to a different world, It's just spread throughout the Mushroom Kingdom, so sometimes, like you're just in let's say the dry outpost, and the music is very like what you expect to be like a desert theme. It's the enemies that reflect it as well. You are in the desert, and the music just captures it so beautifully with the stage that you feel like, you feel enticed to keep playing, You can be in the jungle. There is an awesome jungle theme. Every time you face a boss, it's like a version of that theme, when you're playing the stage, the chapter, but like hyped up. So you feel like a sense of urgency, like, oh crap, I have to beat this guy, There are like, all the music can make you feel 1 second just happy, and then another second you're fighting, there's this one level at the end. I forgot exactly what the boss is called. I think the something king, the Crystal King or something like that. And the music is like so ominous when you're fighting, and it just gives you a sense of dread and importance, like this is the last boss before you face Bowser, So every single, whether it be the music and the stage, it all has its place, and it works together so beautifully. My favorite tracks, like I said, was just the Dry Ruins and the Dry Outpost. My favorite level and music of all time is Shy Guy's Toy Box. It's very like circusy, very carnival-esque, and the aesthetics of it is just you are in a toy box essentially, and it's genius. Every single time you go into a level, you just feel like, oh my god, like this is just, every level has its personality, and if it weren't for any of the other elements, this might not even work, but it all just works together so beautifully. The humor, the personality, just the Mario aesthetic definitely helps it. It's got so many villains and so many people that you can really just shape every single area to be specific to its genre. Yoshi's, you can only find Yoshi's in the jungle, and there's a jungle theme, in the jungle you fight a giant lava piranha. So it's very, very beautifully done. It's really, it's really what drew me into the game. So if you play it, or right now while I'm talking, you could probably hear some of that music and know exactly what I'm talking about. So, yep, that's pretty much it, guys. Let's take another break. right, everybody, and today for the first episode of Masky Saved File, I have Buddy from the band Inner Decay. What's going on, bud? How you doing?
Chilling, drinking my coffee at, 7:30.
Now, you guys might know from my other series that I have a lot of like local bands on and all that. I wanted Bud on specifically because he is one of the only people I know that actually knows and likes Paper Mario a lot.
Game is literally a classic.
Where were you when you first found Paper Mario?
That's funny. It's like a vivid memory of my empty childhood now. But I remember, like seeing it in like a magazine, and I don't know. It was obviously sometime like the late '90s, like 2000, whenever it was. But I was looking at the graphics, and I thought it was like a Super Nintendo game that like came out forever ago. So I spent all this time like looking for the game before it was even out, and then I was like, oh, it's supposed to look like that. I thought the graphics were just like reminiscent of some older game or something. So
yeah. It's funny because another series that kind of was like that was the Castlevania series. That was like they could have went 3D. I think they did go 3D in one game specifically, but for the most part they stayed 2D even in the later platforms just to keep those nice graphics.
Yeah, my first Castlevania was actually like it was a Game Boy one I got by mistake, and that game was like fucking. It was really sweet, and I went back and like started playing the older ones like later on, and it was like they kind of kept the same like style throughout everything.
Oh yeah, but like for people who don't understand what we're talking about, so if you paid attention to a lot of the N64, this is the first time you're hitting basically 3D games. You've got Star Fox, you've got Mario 64, even Mario Kart is 3D-ish, I mean, the system is a little different than all of those other games, but you got Banjo and Kazooie, and, it's very Polygon-esque, but Paper Mario, it's basically like a 2D, would you say like a sprite system, in a 3D world?
Yeah, I don't even know. Like the world, like has like its polygons and whatnot, but like all the characters are just like flat, and like I don't know, they're traced out with like a Sharpie. But I do like in the game. I gotta say how like they kind of use the whole paper like feel with the flatness. Like you got to go under a door sometimes, and it's like like suck you.
Oh yeah,
flatness.
Yeah, I did talk about this a great deal already, but in the first game, they don't really, I'll say they don't really use the paper aspect to their advantage. It's in Thousand Year Door, I'd say, where they definitely use that 100%.
I gotta say, do you have a copy of Thousand Year Door? Because I've literally never even actually played that game. I played the first one, and then I played the one for the Wii, but I never played Thousand Year Door, and like all my GameCube shit keeps like vanishing. I can't emulate it anywhere. Like I want to play it properly.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, it's actually a shame. And now it's on camera.
Dude, that's crazy because you know what? A lot of people consider the only two good games in the Paper Mario series to be Paper Mario and Thousand Year Door. Like
that's what I've heard, but I like the one for the Wii actually. They like added like that's the one where they had like the switch where you would go from like that back like view and shit.
Right.
I thought it was still like pretty faithful to like, at least the first one and kind of what I saw there, so I give that one a thumbs up.
Yeah, if you want me to be honest, that's the one that I never checked out. So I've been thinking about grabbing that. I never played Color Splash. I heard that was probably closer to like the same style as the original Paper Mario's, at least. I don't know.
That's good to hear. Do you remember? I forgot about this game till right now. Do you remember Sticker Star for the DS?
I have it.
I bought that game and I had it for like a day.
Yeah.
And I hated it so much I gave it away like 12 hours to my friend's nephew. I was just like, this game is great, you should play it. And he doesn't play it, and I'm just like, I don't even want it back.
Yeah. Guys, for those who don't know, the Paper Mario series is kind of what would you say? They've taken a lot of swings, and sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss,
Yeah.
And With Sticker Star specifically, it didn't feel like you were leveling up. It didn't feel like you were doing much of anything,
No, I didn't even get that far, honestly, because just trying to find the stickers to fight, I was just like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why all the work? Like, I'm trying to relax.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's like you already have a good mechanic. You're on the 3DS. Like, there's so much you can do with that. Don't bother with the stickers. Just make it a regular Paper Mario game. Right?
It's one of those things where it's just like the original formula they had is just so good. It's just like, why even change it? It's just, I would just like stick to that and ride it out until like some reviewer was just like, they just keep recycling the same shit. Then I'd be like, all right, now it's Sticker Star. But
no, you know what? I will say, Paper Mario in my eyes is definitely the best, but Thousand Year Door comes like so ridiculously close. It's basically a complete and total secession of that, of that first game. It's a whole new line of partners, and it's just a story. There's no, you don't have to do colors. You don't have to do stickers. It's just straight up gameplay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, let's go back a little bit. What were your favorite elements of the first one then? Like, I talked a little bit about like the gameplay and all that.
Yeah.
Well, what do you like best about Paper Mario? Like, if you were trying to sell it to somebody, what would you sell them on?
I'm no fucking salesman, but I think the graphics are just really sweet. They're just like really appealing to me and like cartoony. So I just like to, I get like lost in that. And the one thing I really liked about the game was, I can't remember what they were called, but those pigs. Do you remember the pigs? You pay the coins.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I really enjoyed that, and I never quite understood why they would like run away when I was a kid. So I'd like run up in there and be like, "Everything's gone." But
you son of a bitch.
I just think it was like a good like. I mean, obviously I haven't played a Final Fantasy, so I can't really like speak on RPGs.
Yeah.
But I just liked it. Like, the gameplay to me was unique at the time because I played like Quest 64 at the time, or somewhere around there, and it was similar like RPG type game, but. That was kind of like the first RPG I guess I ever really played, so I just kind of got really caught up with like all that, and it was like goofy too. Like they had those Ninja Turtle Power Ninja Turtles, just like I don't know, all that goofy shit I really liked too. So it was a goofy game with good graphics. That's what I'd sell somebody with.
Goofy game. It had a lot of heart. I made sure to say that a bunch. I'm like, a game with heart and personality, and just like it was just fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, dude, for real. I know. And every game has like, I don't know, its locations. There's always deserts in games and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I just liked all the locations too. That haunted castle. The battle where the dude, you had to like, you couldn't kill him till like him and his heart reunited. Like just all these weird aspects for like a Mario game that you couldn't get out of like Super Mario World, where it's like the story was just kind of like get the princess.
It is funny because in the end it is save the princess, but like it's interesting because as I was saying before, it's like the first time that you're seeing basically all of Mario's villains and friends. Everything is just canon in this game, and everybody's got personality, everybody's got jokes.
They're all kind of like fleshed out and shit, and I can't remember that one kid either. That he's like in the shell and he keeps like evolving throughout. And he gets like the spike and the bat wings. That little trooper kid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like Koopa Jr. or something like that.
Yeah, I think that was his name.
I forgot what his name was, but even that was just hilarious. He, constantly throughout the game you encounter him, and he's just failing.
Yeah, whip his ass here and there.
Give you a nice boost of star points.
He was actually hard as hell though, because I specifically remember fighting him in the that haunted forest, and like as a kid I would get mad as hell. Like I would be like, fuck. Like I wouldn't say fuck this game, but I'd be like whipping the controller around and just but it was very satisfying to slaughter that little fuck. Anyway,
another thing I was saying was like even though like this was an older game, like, and you didn't have the choice of easy, normal, or hard, I would say the difficulty level was definitely like, I don't know, like normal, like it's not it's not Dark Souls. There was no Dark Souls, but it was
Yeah,
challenging, you know.
yeah. I mean, it got hard, but I feel like the like difficulty ramped up well enough for like people who were like casual gamers to kind of like get into it.
Hmm.
Like people who were like into games could enjoy it. And like by the time you got to like that ice place and stuff, like
Oh, dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
frustrating.
It's funny because another thing I was saying is like the the thing that ties it so well together is you not only got the personality, you not only have the art style, but you have the stage and then the music. The music is just incredible in the game.
It is. I was just listening to some of that actually earlier.
Yeah, it's like, let's say, like even being in like flower fields, it's like it's all nice and pretty, and then you see the sun on top of the tower, and he's just bummed out.
I totally forgot about flower fields actually till just now. That's crazy. That was
Oh yeah.
yeah. I hated that world, but like I really wanted the I can't remember the kid's name on the cloud, and he has like the little.
Oh
Yeah, he was
yeah.
just so badass. I was like, I need that guy. I need playing Cloud. I need it all. But then I got there, and like once again, it was hard as hell for me. And
Oh yeah. It definitely was one of the more difficult levels, and then the boss at the end, Huff and Puff, I believe was his name, just
yeah,
merciless. Just ridiculous. I felt like the two hardest bosses for me in the game was the ice boss at the end,
mm.
definitely, like hands down, and then that boss, the Huff and Puff, the cloud boss. So
I think they all actually had like I don't know. Come to think of it, they were all actually pretty fucking difficult. I know I just said earlier like it had like a good difficulty for people to go up, or maybe I just sucked at the game actually and just liked it. But even that Bowser like robot in the first battle, who had like with
oh
all
yeah.
springs and gadgets, that was hard as hell too. Actually, now that I think about
Hmm.
it, I think they were all hard.
Oh yeah, they all have their different like mechanics that you have to figure it out. Like Shy Guy's toy box, how many waves of different Shy Guys do you have to hit before you actually get to the boss.
Yeah, that place was awesome because I know you had to like follow the one dude into like the secret door and everything, and like it was just
Oh
cool
yeah,
to like interact with the town
dude.
that way. Like I
It's
feel like
it's it's my favorite stage, my favorite partner.
hell yeah, dude. I caught that tattoo last time I saw you. I was like,
Hmm.
hell yeah,
Oh yeah, it's what started this conversation,
yeah,
essentially.
right. Comes
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
yeah. I definitely that like the whole game has just incredible music, and it's very immersive. That's another thing that I absolutely love about it. What was your favorite world?
You know, honestly, I think it was like the dry outpost.
Mm, no.
Yeah, just I don't know, going through there, the whole like little like temple boss and the Egyptian guy. Like I just like the whole thing. I think that's I like Chain Chomps, and I just think
Hmm.
it had like all like my favorite aspects for one in there. But like when I was thinking about the game today, I was just thinking like that train ride to get there.
Oh
That
yeah.
one dude who you like smack him on the head and you can like eat that like lump to get health, like all
Yeah.
that weird shit. Yeah,
Hmm.
like I don't know, that's like some of the most memorable part of the game for me. And yeah, I don't know, I just think that's probably my favorite world.
Yeah, I love it too when you're going through the mount. I believe it's Mount Rugged, and you're facing all of these enemies that are like, this is the first time you're seeing like a different variety of enemy. You're not fighting Koopas anymore. You're not fighting Goombas,
Yeah,
and you're going.
spiny
You're
guys
going.
and the
Oh yeah,
moles. Monty Mole, that son of a
Monty
bitch.
Mole.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, and it's just it's a whole new like feeling, and then you fight the vulture on the bridge if you want to.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that whole like that going from the mountain to the desert is like you feel like you definitely entered a different realm.
yeah,
And the music is just phenomenal too for that. They actually,
the whole game.
oh
The whole
yeah, the whole game.
that's music.
Yeah, the most annoying part for me was definitely when you go to the J Jungle, like looking for those Yoshis.
Yeah, yeah.
It's definitely the most frustrating for me.
Yeah, I like that world. Just I think it's because I just like the Yoshis and like the color and shit. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, when I think about it, yeah, too, it just had a lot of awesome characters like that Raphael or whatever, the Raven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
fucking nostalgia out the ass when I think about all that shit.
Oh yeah, dude. It's never left me. Like,
Right.
this is one game that no matter what, I always find myself replaying. You know, it's got a huge replay value, I think, and
I agree with that.
like even just doing this episode, I had to download so much music and gameplay, and I'm like, oh my god, this game is just fantastic.
Right.
But yeah, my level hands down was Shy Guy's Toy Box, because it's like it's kind of the same thing when you first go into the desert. You jump into that box and it's a whole new world.
And it's like within the city. You know what I'm saying? Like you've gone past these buildings and shit,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's just like you jump in a box, and it's just. I mean, it's
Oh
like
yeah.
right there. Because all the other stuff, you walk here, you walk there, but I can't remember what the little conspiracy was with the Shy Guys. They were like stealing something. I
Oh
can't
yeah.
recall what the case
They
was.
were causing havoc all around the town, and basically they stole items from the town and then brought them into the box. And you would find these items and then put them back in real life to continue with that level. And it's like
I remember that shit. Okay.
it's awesome because like the first time that you play that, you're like, oh, well, what the hell am I supposed to do with this frying pan? And then you look
Yeah.
at it in the menu and it tells you exactly who it belongs to, and it just leads you on this basically
Yeah,
fetch
side
quests. Yeah.
And did you ever play Mario RPG?
Oh yeah, I played it.
Yeah.
I was talking about that. This game was essentially supposed to be a sequel to that, but
Yeah.
it's funny that you mentioned Final Fantasy, because those SquareSoft was the creator of Super Mario RPG, and they
Yeah.
were going to do Paper Mario, but they left on bad terms and formed Square Enix and joined up with Sony.
Yeah, I had heard a bit about that, but
Mhm.
actually, I don't know. Did you get to the part in that game where there's the I totally had a brain fart. The Final Fantasy boss. I didn't play the game, so I don't know who he was, but he's like behind that door at the end of the game, and you can fight this like totally out of character for all of Super Mario RPG. He's like some big spiky angel demon. Have you?
I never beat the game. I will say that. It's just like what we're talking about with Paper Mario. We're talking about how much we love the music and how much personality and heart it had. I felt like Super Mario RPG didn't have any of that.
Yeah, no, I just played I mean, it was a good game, but
Mhm.
it didn't have I guess like you said, the character of the other game, it was Mario, it was RPG, it was like fun, but I
Uh-huh.
think this thing was just so creative and just like captured such a a vibe, I guess, for lack
Mhm.
of a word. That
Yeah, I'll give that game credit. I mean, if it weren't for that, we wouldn't have Paper Mario. We wouldn't have Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga or anything like that.
those were good games too.
Oh, that's another one that I eventually want to talk about. Is the one I love is Partners in Time. Have you ever played that one?
I didn't play Partners in Time. I only played the first one, but
Mm-hmm.
that game was good as hell too. They can do good things with Mario RPGs, but then you end up, like I said, Sticker Star.
Oh yeah.
Once again, that game, just for anyone who watches this, don't do
Yeah.
that to yourself.
Avoid Sticker Star, guys.
Don't subject
I
yourself
was
to abuse.
talk about the ultimate disappointment was me getting Sticker Star and popping it in and being like, oh my god, the graphics are like perfect for a 3DS game. I'm like, this is it. This is going to be another great game.
Right,
Oh,
right. I mean, just deceive the hell out of you.
oh boy. I never even beat it. I went to the fourth world and I was like, I don't even want to do this anymore. This is
They set it down, just beat the hell out of it with a hammer. Like, all right.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
All right.
I just don't know how they strayed from that so much, but I digress.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Hey, we got the Nintendo Switch, and I'm sure. I'm just positive that they're thinking about it right now. They're probably working on it. A new Paper Mario game. I'm just hoping that's going to be the last push. That's going to be the last push I need to get a Switch.
Yeah, have you actually seen that they're like sold out like everywhere?
Yes.
Yeah, I was finally like, I think it's about time to get one. And everyone's like, oh, they're about $600 now. I'm like, well,
Yeah, me too. I wanted one for my birthday in March, and I started looking for it, and I waited too long. It was all sold out everywhere.
Yeah, I have no interest in the Lite. Like, it has no TV compatibility, and I'm just like, I need that. I require.
Yeah, and another thing is everyone was talking about how, like, the buttons on, I guess the Joy-Cons are kind of like crappy, like they go bad on you after a while.
Oh, I have heard about that, yeah.
So why would you get a Lite when the buttons are literally attached to the Switch? Like they're interchangeable.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if the quality differs.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, I don't want to pay the money to find out. I'll watch some YouTube reviews.
Exactly. All right. Well, you wanna leave on any parting words, bud?
You know what? Yeah, I actually will just tell one minor story about this game that I just like remembered halfway through this. But I just remember when I was playing and we were on that like Jade Island back in the day. Mm-hmm. My mom grounded me for like bad grades, not doing my homework or some reason. And so I had my sister with me, and I was literally sitting there, and I was having her play the game, and I'm like, all right, run around this guy. And I'm just like, I said around him, what the hell, jump? And she's like, never played this shit, and she's like, just sitting there like, I don't like this. I'm like, I don't care what you like. I'm trying to get through this and save some people, but good times for me. So I don't know about her, but
dude, that's genius. That's genius getting around your grounding.
I was like, I'm playing this game one way or another, man. You can't stop the train.
You're like, shut up! I'll buy you a candy bar.
That's something.
That's amazing. Well, thanks a lot for jumping on here with me, bud. I really, really appreciate it.
Hell yeah, dude! I will ramble about games with you anytime.
Hey, you know what? I don't know what the next episode is, but I'll definitely talk to you about what are some of your other favorite games. Maybe there's some more crossover, some more niche crossover.
I love Sonic, dude.
There you go.
Yeah, dude. Well, fuck. Thanks for having me, man.
All right, no problem, man. Again, guys, this is Buddy from Inner Decay. If you want to check out his band, they just released, what would you say, it was a 3 or 4 song EP?
It was like a 3-song demo. Yeah, we got it on like, Bandcamp and everything. Lure of the Wicked, look it up. It's on the internet near you.
Lure of the Wicked, guys. Check it out. All right, thanks, bud. Very much appreciated.
Take care, man. Thank you.
All right, guys. Man, we are finally here at the point where we can just wrap it up. And I have to say, I was really nervous about this, guys, because this is probably my favorite game of all time. This is my favorite system. So I was dreading doing this, because I don't want to do it, I want to do it justice, I want to, hopefully I explain thoroughly, but also explain why I love this game. This was my first ever introduction to an RPG style game, which made me go on to play a lot of the Final Fantasy titles. One of my favorite games of all time was Final Fantasy X. And it's because, I played this game first that made me want to seek out that turn-based style, RPGs. I went on to play Mario and Luigi the Superstar Saga, Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, very much the same turn-based style, all because of Paper Mario. And if you don't know, Paper Mario also has tons of accompanying titles. So there's Paper Mario, there's Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, that was on the GameCube. On the Wii, there's Super Paper Mario, which kind of strayed off a little bit from what Paper Mario is. Paper Mario Sticker Star for the 3DS. Again, it got back on track, but it wasn't quite like, the first 2 games. In my opinion, the first 2 games are incredible. Just amazing games of all time. Not just the Paper Mario series, but of all time. Those first 2 games. but Sticker Star and Super Paper Mario really kind of went off track. There was also Paper Mario Color Splash, which I heard was probably one of the better of those three that I mentioned. However, it came out on the Wii U, and if you don't know your gaming history, the Wii U is probably the worst selling system of all time, and for Nintendo, definitely. Maybe of all time in general. But that game I never got to play, so I can't really speak on that. I played Sticker Star, which was entertaining. It kept a lot of the humor, but again, it gave it a mechanic that didn't really need with the stickers. You just need Mario, you need that same exact gameplay, put them in different worlds, put them with different people, and you have an amazing game just waiting for you. So, how does it hold up? Is it replayable? Absolutely. Obviously, I'm partial to this, but I play Paper Mario every single year, essentially. I play it multiple times, and it never loses that whimsy for me. I'm able to jump in and just play it again and just relive all my other, all my old memories. So, I mean, I got a Paper Mario tattoo on me. Obviously, I think it's replayable, and in terms of its difficulty, there is no. This is before you really got to choose like easy, normal, or hard. There was just whatever the game difficulty was. Nintendo's slogan for the longest time was Nintendo Hard, and with the N64 specifically, you kind of see that there was really no rating systems. It was just here you go, you know. But yeah, is it difficult? I'd say it's good enough for an entry level player to just jump in, and it's challenging enough to keep you in. So it doesn't get any easier. Bowser is one hell of a character to take down. So all of it is just practice until that, and every boss is just they have their different attributes that make it difficult and challenging, and just definitely keeps you wanting to keep playing. So absolutely it's replayable, absolutely it holds up. The graphic style with the sprites, it being 2D in a 3D environment, it really works. It doesn't look clunky or bad. Like if I went to go play, I don't know, let's say the first Super Mario, the Smash Bros. Let's say I'm playing Smash Bros. You can tell that it's like, oh man, this is a little rough. Everything's moving slow when you're fighting, and even like Super Mario 64. I love Super Mario 64, so don't come at me. But like you can tell, it's from its time period. But with Paper Mario, it's like, there's not really kind of like, a difference. Like it's really good. It's rendered very well. And if you have an emulator, even better. I play it on my phone. I have an N64 emulator on my phone, and I'll play it, and it just looks perfect because it's scaled down. And, but if you have an N64 and Paper Mario and try to put it on your new HD television, it's going to look crappy. But so is every one of those games. But yeah, I think it holds up perfectly. It's extremely replayable. And yeah, guys, I'm so glad that I could share my favorite game with you of all time. That's what this podcast is going to be. It's going to be me trying to talk honestly about my favorite games of all time. I don't know what the next episode's going to be, but I'm going to bring the same passion that I just brought to this episode. I'm sorry if there's a lot of information. I was very nervous about this. Like I said, I was dreading this, but I'm glad I'm finally over it. Like I said, check out all my other stuff on my channel. I have a playlist with all my past coffee times. Season 1. There's Season 2 right behind it that you can check out. There's Rift City, Masky Reacts, a number of band playthrough videos that I've done. There's no shortage of content on my channel, so just check it out. I have an Instagram. Check me out at MaskyMasky666. And on Facebook, it is Masky. So YouTube is Michael Masky. Guys, guys, thank you very much. And I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.